welcome to Views on News. I am Jawad Tehami. Pakistan's Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif is on a two-day official visit to the United Arab Emirates on the invitation of the UAE President Sheikh Mohammed bin Zayed Al Nahyan. Both the leaders had a meeting and they discussed the brotherly relations between Pakistan and the United Arab Emirates and expressed the desire to further strengthen these relations, particularly in the areas of trade, investment and energy. At the same time, the President of the United Arab Emirates has agreed to extend and roll over $2 billion of existing debt on Pakistan and also provide $1 billion of additional loan to Pakistan. Now, Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif also held a meeting with the investors and the businessmen over there, and he highlighted the investment opportunities in Pakistan as well. He's accompanied by a high-level delegation. And when we talk about this bilateral relationship, Pakistan and the United Arab Emirates have long held friendly, cordial and fraternal and brotherly relations. And this particular relationship has strengthened over time. Now, when we talk about the trade volume between the two countries, the United Arab Emirates remains to be the largest trading partner for Pakistan in the Middle East and North Africa region, and there remains to be a huge potential in enhancing this particular volume between the two countries in various sectors. When we talk about the generous assistance most recently by the United Arab Emirates leadership regarding providing relief items to the flood victims in Pakistan, 70 flights were departed from the United Arab Emirates to bring in that relief good for the flood victims in Pakistan through an air bridge that was established between Pakistan and the United Arab Emirates, and to look into deeper aspects of this wide-ranging bilateral relationship between Pakistan and the United Arab Emirates. We are honored to have been joined in the studio by Ms. Naela Chohan. She is former ambassador. Ms. Naela, thank you very much for your time, for being on Views on News tonight. Really appreciate that. And we are also honored to have been joined in the studio by Mr. Anik Zafar. He's political analyst. Mr. Zafar, thank you very much for your time, also for being on Views on News. At the same time, we are honored to have been joined in the studio by Dr. Ziya Shamsi. He's expert foreign affairs. Dr. Shamsi, thank you very much for your time, also for being on Views on News. Really appreciate that. Let me begin the discussion with you, Ms. Naela. Now, how bigger this is a respite for Pakistan and its economy, the rollover of $2 billion of existing debt on Pakistan and additional provision of $1 billion?
It's a very important development. As you know, Pakistan was facing a lot of challenges, particularly the financial crunch. Unfortunately, a lot of media was also exaggerating the issue, but the issue was always there and there was no denying on that. So this is a great success for Pakistan, that our friendship, because with UAE we have very long-standing friendship. Unfortunately, in between we have had ups and downs, and there have been a lot of propaganda warfare also saying that UAE has stopped visas for Pakistanis and things like that. But all those were fake news. Yeah. Our relationship has always been very strong and it has grown over the years. UAE has become UAE because of Pakistani workers. So we have contributed to their development and they are contributing to our development. So it is a very positive synergy and it will have a very positive impact on our economic and financial situation.
Mr. Zafar, what's your take regarding when we see this gesture by the President of the United Arab Emirates, that clearly depicts that the bilateral relationship between Pakistan and the UAE has fared well over time, isn't it?
There is no doubt about that. As Honorable former ambassador also pointed out, that Pakistan and UAE have been it has been a long-term partnership in number of ways. Obviously, there are many Pakistanis who work in UAE, and UAE has always helped Pakistan, always have supported. Besides these loans, have also invested in many health projects and education projects and other projects all across Pakistan, particularly in underserved areas. For example, they have run a project in tribal district, former tribal districts, which focused on health. Then there were roads built in that area, and also at the time of floods, whether it is 2010, whether it is the current flood, UAE has always been forthcoming with itself. But very significant in this new development is that after this, I think Pakistan will have a much easier time negotiating with IMF, and IMF also had been looking towards these countries, whether they will be able to bridge the financing gap. So with UAE coming in, and with also Saudi Arab also announced that they are going to enhance their oil facility. Today we signed up for $1 billion that. So we are bridging that financing gap that we may have had even after IMF. So this is significant in the sense that once these are locked in, IMF program will also come in.
Right. Dr. Shamsi, your take regarding it would definitely be a great respite for the forex reserves in Pakistan, and especially Pakistan when it is faced with the economic difficulties. And then when we talk about, as Mr. Anik has also mentioned, the 9th review with the IMF is still pending. So it would be great respite for the overall economic situation, and also when it comes to the debt servicing burden, also when there is a rollover of $2 billion in the existing debt from the UAE.
Yeah, that's right. Thank you very much. But to me, it appears temporary relief, because we first have to resolve our the issues related to our political stability, because all these friends, we have been depending a lot for a very long time now, and they are always forthcoming. There is no denying that. And again, we should be thankful to the government and the people of UAE for forthcoming. But we need to, but they've always insisted that Pakistan, such a great country and such a big population and the biggest Islamic country, must be able to resolve its issues which keep on recurring because of our certain inabilities. So this time again, perhaps they initially insisted that we will always be on your side, but it would be better if Pakistan is able to stand on its feet all by itself. Their support is always available, and we do bank on them, a number of them, Saudi Arabia, UAE, China. But I think it is time that once this relief is available and this time period passed by, we should recollect ourselves.
And form a united front in order to give a united voice to the outer world. And the politics of agitation and confrontation in that regard should be avoided.
That's right.
Is that what you are
That's what I am coming at. That we should be able to stabilize ourselves as a society and as a state, because there is so much of potential available in this. As the Excellency initially said, that whatever UAE is today is because of the Pakistani workers. So if we can rebuild places in the desert, why can't we rebuild ourselves while we have everything? I mean, this Indus Valley is a geographer's dream when he says it underneath from the moon. We have everything. We have weathers, we have land, we have people, we have resources, and we have talent, because wherever the Pakistanis go, they deliver.
We have everything, and we need to capitalize on that potential.
Absolutely.
And for that, the political stability happens to be of crucial importance. Ms. Naela, your take regarding having political stability when a Prime Minister is over there and he has had a meeting with the business leaders over there in the UAE and the investors, and is highlighting the vast investment opportunities here in Pakistan. For that, the political stability over here in Pakistan happens to be very crucial.
Indeed, it is very crucial, because then it is investors' confidence also, because there are different paths to what we are getting right now. As you had seen in Geneva, we have more than expected pledges, but out of it almost 8 billion are loans which are going to be rolled over 3 years. and they are project specific. So it will depend on how we work on those projects. Of course, the Prime Minister has given assurance that it will be a very transparent system, and the world accepted it, which shows the credibility of the government. But no government can be credible enough because of the social media. Everybody sees what's going on in the country, and when there are different voices coming up negating all that, then the investors' confidence is affected.
So how to deal with that rampant fake news and misinformation?
Well, we all have to take our responsibility. It's not government versus people. It's us Pakistanis. We as people of Pakistan, we as, a democratic country, we as a nuclear power, I think each citizen has to take his or her responsibility in building that image and not fall prey to external influences and vested interests, because as you know, in our region there are various elements and quarters which have constantly worked on destabilizing Pakistan. So we have to be more vigilant, and we have to counter this propaganda. Cyber attacks have been very frequent, unfortunately. Even if you remember the EU Infolab scandal that happened. We have to be vigilant, we as Pakistani. And Pakistan is a very patriotic people, that I can say. As representative of Pakistan when I was abroad, I feel proud of representing this country. But unfortunately, when we get together, we have such divergent views.
Mr. Zafar, what needs to be done again to create that sort of a realization among all the major political stakeholders in the country that political stability is of crucial importance when it comes to form a united voice and relay a united message to the outer world? And what needs to be done in that regard when Pakistan is faced with so many difficulties already?
Well, that's a very difficult question, to be honest. Democracy itself is a very noisy model of governance. It will always be noisy. There will be a difference of opinions, and there should be a difference of opinions that is important to take a course which is debated, which is debated by the people, by the political leadership, by all the stakeholders.
But the way that particular difference is relayed, that matters.
Differences should be there, but those differences should be in a certain limit, and that limit is defined by. Each one should understand that that limit is defined by core national interest. Our problem has been that we have not really been able to, as a state and as a society, we have not really been able to define what is our core national interest. We have to agree on that. And if economy is our core national interest, our politicking should never compromise on economy. Economy is the real politics, in fact. So we should all stakeholders, and including myself and including you, should understand that we may have our sympathies with one political party or the other political party, but we will have to look how they are treating this country. That should be the basis of our selection, that who we should support. And second, each one of us also has a responsibility. We talk a lot about the government, about the state. The government should do it, the state must do it. But what are we doing? Are we law-abiding citizens? Are we tax-paying citizens? Are we following any discipline in our daily life? No, we are not. Majority of us is not doing that. So until unless majority of us is not doing that. There should be a realization
at the grassroots level as well. Let me bring in Dr. Shamsi also. Coming back to that very point of wide-ranging bilateral relationship between Pakistan and the United Arab Emirates. So what do you think had been the core strength of this particular relationship?
I think its sustenance has been very important. Relationship goes back to the early 70s when the UAE became UAE actually. And the high-level delegation led by Sheikh Zayed came to Pakistan and participated in the first Islamic summit conference in Lahore. And from that day onwards, the first thing that Pakistan promised was the export of perhaps the working class that went all the way and help build UAE as it is, as it stands today, as one of the very modern country as a whole. And there was this very famous joke at that time, Dubai Chalo. So everybody was heading that. That in turn helped Pakistan get a lot of remittances and really beefed up Pakistan's economy at that time. And the relationship continued during the Zia era also, when Pakistan was supporting the Afghan Mujahideen in the jihad. And UAE was always there supporting the cause. So far we have discussed the political and economic relationship, but not forgetting that we have very strong military ties with them. Actually, it was Pakistan military that helped build the UAE armed forces, especially the Air Force, UAE Air Force. And still, I know a lot of my colleagues are still working there in all their departments, that is training, although they are not there in operations, but in air defense system and in training of their pilots and the engineers, the Pakistani contribution is still there. So what I'm trying to say is that it's a very long and enduring friendship and very dependable friendship. However, I must say that we must not take it for granted, because we must stand on our feet. We have the potential. The friends are there to help us, but we must learn how to do it ourselves.
Right. Ms. Naela, the core strength of this bilateral relationship, what do you think was that one core area that gave the impetus for this bilateral relationship to be strengthened over time?
Nikki, there are many factors to it. It's not one factor that one could talk about. You have the same faith, you have the same culture, you have a shared history, you have a lot of areas that have cemented us as people, as nation. So I would not say there's only one factor, but
a range of factors.
Range of factors, but faith is also an important element in that, I would say.
Right. Mr. Zafar, what do you think was the strength that this particular bilateral relationship kept on strengthening over time?
Well, it starts from the birth of UAE. Pakistan was one of the first countries to recognize UAE, and as honorable panelists have already mentioned, that in reconstructing, rebuilding UAE and making UAE what it is today, a lot of Pakistanis have given their blood and sweat there. And besides that, obviously, Pakistan is a major Muslim country which has nuclear and strategic and capabilities and military capabilities. So all these new countries depended on Pakistan to build their defenses, to build their strategic strengths. And on the other hand, our friends in Gulf, particularly we are talking about UAE right now, they have been forthcoming in supporting Pakistan, in accommodating a lot of our labor. They have been providing us funds whenever we have required. But as Mr. Chishti was saying, that perhaps it's about time that we build our relationship more on the basis of trade. UAE remains a large trading partner, but that is sort of...
so what sectors and areas specifically do you suggest could be looked into in order to enhance the trade volume? So recently we saw in the last year the trade volume between Pakistan and the Middle East and North Africa region rose to around 10.6 billion US dollars. So it is expected to grow to double. So what core areas do you think could help in enhancing that one also?
if you look at UAE itself, it is now building an economy which is not only dependent on services and hydrocarbons. But we also need to, one of the core strengths we have is our human resource, obviously, right? We need to have now trained human resource. If we are exporting human resource to UAE, we should come out of just unskilled labor and move into skilled and high-tech jobs, move into banking, move into other industries, and provide UAE a base for further growth in other areas. And besides that, I think we still have a lot of potential in exporting agriculture produce if we are able to enhance our produce, because right now we have become a food importing country instead of an exporting country. We have a lot of potential to start focusing on our agriculture, enhance our per acre yields in different crops, and then obviously the associated industries like packaging and processing of food, we have to develop that so that we can meet the requirement of all these Gulf states instead of these Gulf states bringing in all this stuff from other countries.
Right. Dr. Shamsi, now when we talk about the workforce, it is, of course, added to the development of the United Arab Emirates over the years. Now, when the times are changing and there is technological revolution, what specific core areas do you think that skill building, the capacity building, enhancement of that very capacity should be focused in when it comes to building that workforce for the Gulf countries in particular?
Yeah, I think Anik Saab is right that perhaps the time is over as far as the exporting of unskilled labor is concerned, because they have already done the rebuilding. They have built themselves now in a very, very modern state, and now we need to export highly skilled manpower. As he said, that in the banking sector, financial sector, IT sector. And of course, there is a lot of appetite in UAE for the import of finished goods from Pakistan, that is textile, food, etc., that we can explore. And not to forget that UAE became a host country for us when we were unable to host the cricket matches in Pakistan after Sri Lankan visit debacle in 2007. So we have a very long relationship and a very, very dependable relationship. And if I may remind, Emirates Airlines, I think it was built by Pakistan International Airlines staff initially, and today it is one of the best airlines in the world. So there is a lot of potential still, and we need to capture it, because this niche may not be available for a very long time. There is a huge inflow of Indian labor and Indian workers and Indian skilled workers in UAE, because there was a space and they are occupying it. So we must not miss the boat this time, and we should negotiate with them the trade pacts and obviously the issuance of additional work visas for the Pakistanis.
Right. Ms. Naela, now Pakistan's ambassador to the UAE has highlighted 3 key sectors that include the fintech, the IT and startups. So if you would like to shed a little bit of light on these key specific sectors so that the both the countries could enhance the trade volume between each other.
Yes, Ambassador Tirumsi has highlighted these important areas that we have not been working on as much as we should have had. Like Dr. Shamsi said, that earlier on we were just sending unskilled labor. Now the world has changed, Middle East has changed, Gulf has changed. They have a great appetite for skilled labor, and we have this forte of IT, fintech, and startup means innovation. Our people are innovative, and if you look at their vision in UAE and also in Saudi Arabia, they are now really going on a supersonic speed for development. And in that, if we want to remain partners, we have to also pull up our socks and move forward in the world as the world is moving.
Right. Mr. Zafar, your take regarding these three key specific sectors. You already mentioned that highly skilled labor is required to contribute over there in the new development of the United Arab Emirates.
Yeah, obviously, fintech is a technology intensive industry, and I'm very sure that Pakistan has the potential. Pakistani youth is heavily investing itself into technology, at least a considerable number, if not everyone. Then there are other aspects of technology which we are slowly catching up. Our freelance export of IT products is growing exponentially over the last few years. And the startups, obviously, Pakistan is a very large market. Here, startups, I think Ambassador Timothy may have been referring to Pakistan's startup environment, where we have had a good few years in the last 2 years, where many venture capitalists entered into Pakistani market and invested in Pakistani startups.
Mr. Zafar, beg your pardon for the interruption. I'll have to take a quick break, and after the break, we'll resume the discussion from here.
Hello and welcome to a brand new episode of Dine with World. We have some cold recipes, salads, juices. We're also making a pasta, my favorite segment of the show, sweets and desserts. 3 teaspoons of mojito syrup, ice cubes, lemons. Very nice red vinegar. Good. This is really nice. This is our beetroot salad, which is ready to be served. You can make, I think, hundreds of sauces. Yum, yum, yum. Scallops, mussels. I love this about Thai food. Red chilies and everything. You don't want it to burn.
Done.
Wow. Just like the name is very explicit, so seafood lovers don't really care what expressions the fish is giving. So we've also added chicken wings.
Yeah, even in the slice.
Don't be satisfied with stories, how things have gone with others. Unfold your own myth.
Welcome back to Views on News. We're discussing how Pakistan and the United Arab Emirates can enhance the trade volume. We are joined in the studio by Ms. Naela Chohan, Mr. Anik Zafar and Dr. Zia Shamsi. Dr. Shamsi, what are those key areas would you like to suggest that Pakistan can increase its exports in specific to the United Arab Emirates?
Yeah. Trade we have already talked about, food we have already talked about, but 2 sectors that we have discussed is, one is the defense exports and the other is tourism. Because recently concluded this Dubai Expo, I think attracted a lot of crowd on Pakistani stalls, and here also Dimdex, etc. There is a lot of potential. As I said, the UAE has a lot of appetite to develop, and we must try and grab this opportunity as soon as possible, because UAE is now part of I2U2 system, that is Israel, India, and UAE and US. So there is a lot of potential, and we must take note of it before it is hijacked by India and Israel.
The very important question, as you already mentioned, a very important point, that there is a lot of labor and workforce that is going from India. So because of that space that was created. Yeah. Now, how can Pakistani workforce fill that space, or what sort of that very point could be that could spur that very spirit of competition among the labor in Pakistan?
It actually happened in the early on during perhaps 2000, because till that time we were exporting the unskilled workers because the building activities were going on. But at the same time, UAE was transforming itself into high-tech industry when they were establishing the education city, the media city, and all that. That is the time Indian skilled labor from IT sector, from banking sector, from financial sector, from auto sector, they went and occupied most of these places, not only in UAE, but in Qatar also, Saudi Arabia also, Bahrain also, and Oman also.
Well, that was already
that is what
done.
we
now,
missed out.
This development pace is not going to stop in future as well.
Absolutely.
Still, there would be a lot of room. So
that is what I am suggesting.
How can that spirit of competition among Pakistani workforce be, enhanced, or it could be
because we have a very talented workforce, and Pakistanis are very industrious people, and the startups are doing very well as far as the IT and service sector is concerned. So this is the time when our delegations, the highest level delegation led by the Prime Minister and other ministers are visiting. We must make sure that we do talk to them about these aspects. And one more thing which I think should not be ignored, Prime Minister's visit was preceded by the visit of the Chief of Army Staff. That really cleared the ground. So we must
bilateral
acknowledge
defense
that.
and military cooperation was discussed in that particular meeting also. Now, Mr. Zafar, when we talk about, as Dr. Shamsi has highlighted, another very important, very interesting area, the tourism potential of Pakistan. Of course, Pakistan is the dearth of more and more inflows into Pakistan. So how this particular industry, the tourism industry, can add to that?
Well, we have been talking about tourism since long, but we have not really been able to build our tourist areas up to the international standards. What we need to do is that we have to encourage people, our own investors and international investors, in our tourist areas, to build the infrastructure, to invest in infrastructure. We can partner, our businessmen can partner with the international businessmen. We have to ensure that whoever comes and visits Pakistan is fully satisfied with the security situation of these areas. So there is a lot of focus which needs to be done before we can say that Pakistan can become a tourist attraction. In the last few years, what has helped Pakistan's tourist industry has been the domestic tourism. Not many people started visiting all these areas which are normally called tourist attraction or attractive areas. Since local domestic tourist has been visiting, there has been some infrastructure development. New hotels are coming up. People are investing in these areas. But what the government needs to ensure is that the development is environment friendly. It does not impact our environment, biodiversity, because a lot of these areas are attractive because these are wild, these are raw. If we start building concrete jungles there, it will destroy them. Right. So we have to balance this environment friendly policies, encourage the investors to be there, but be green friendly.
Right. Naela, I would like to take your input regarding when the government looks forward to the investment coming into Pakistan. So what key measures is Prime Minister during his meeting with the investors and businessmen over there in the UAE has said that Pakistan is taking steps in order to facilitate and provide a business conducive or friendly environment over there. So what key measures do you suggest should be immediately taken in that regard?
We have spoken of investments before also. Investor confidence is important. So the Prime Minister is there to give them that assurance that whatever the government may be, the government policies will be honored and respected, so that investments are long term, they are not short term. So they feel that confidence. But if you look at the composition of the delegation, that also gives you an idea of how the Prime Minister and the current government is looking at fortifying relationship with UAE in particular, and also with other countries in the region. So there is Defense Minister. It was just said that the Chief of Army Staff was there. Our defense industry is also growing, and Gulf countries are a good market for that. We also need to work at our end, because while you're attracting investors, you have this SMEDA, the Small and Medium Enterprise Development Authority. I think they have to gear up also to prepare your startups, to prepare your small and medium industries to the level of technology that is required to be competitive in international market.
Right.
Dr. Shamsi spoke of the expo, how successful our stall was. The whole world came and saw what Pakistan had to offer. Now we have to walk the talk, because expo is just, a flash. But now when people will come attracted by what was demonstrated, we should have that infrastructure, we should have that skilled labor, we should have that government policy of consistency, so that investors don't feel nervous about it.
Right. Dr. Shamsi, when we talk about people to people, the entire discussion has revealed clearly that there's a very solid sort of a relationship when it comes to the government level. So when we talk about people to people contacts, how they have contributed over time in enhancing this bilateral relationship, and what needs to be done more in that regard?
Yeah, people to people contact with nearly all Middle Eastern countries, and especially the UAE has been very strong over the years, primarily because of the people, Pakistani people working over there, and the UAE people visiting Pakistan. They love this place, and ever since the president and vice president, the princess, they have been coming and getting trained in Pakistan and going back and really acting as ambassadors of Pakistan in their country, as they have been stating on record. And they've been coming for hunting and for tourism and desert safaris and all. Now these things they've started in their country. Why? Because we did not develop them to that level. So as Anik Saab said, that why I initiated the debate on tourism is because we have the place, natural beauty, which UAE lacks, unfortunately, because of the topography. So if we offer these places for investment purposes, for developing these resorts, remember that Dubai and Abu Dhabi at this time, they are acting as transporting hub or the transition hub or the transit hubs because of the Emirates and Ittihad. So they can bring a lot of people from all over the world through their areas, through their transit hubs, in their airline, if we offer them the places. For example, I would suggest that we may like to give route to Ittihad and Emirates for landing in Iskardu. Another station added, so that a lot of tourists can come directly from all over the world to that place, and these people come and develop. There is a lot of potential, and we lost a lot of hotels this time in the floods. And therefore there is an opportunity that these people come, build, because they have wherewithal, they have the funds available
Right,
and
your
they
point
can
is well
build
taken, Dr.
on
Zia
strong
Shamsi,
grounds.
Expert Foreign Affairs, Dr. Zia Shamsi, thank you very much for being with us on Views on News tonight. Really appreciate your time. And Ms. Naela Chohan, thank you very much for your time also for being with us on Views on News tonight. And Mr. Aniq Zafar, thank you very much for your time also for being with us on Views on News tonight. We really appreciate that. And with this, we come to the end of today's Views on News. Till the next one, take good care of yourselves.